And hello! Welcome to this very special episode of Solo Playthroughs. I am so excited to get this on camera. If for no other reason that I need an update of the original top 10 games video I did back last April. That audio was awful, the lighting was awful. I don't know what's going on, but it's still like my most watched video. It's crazy. I think it's about to hit 10,000 views, which is totally nuts. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like a 2-second lag in the audio and the video, but it's hilarious, right? When I first started doing these videos, I heard that it takes about 35 to 40 videos before you actually produce anything of quality. That's about right. It took me a long time. It's been a long road. When I put that video out, I did it. Why? Because I hit 100 subscribers. Now we're over 2,000 subscribers. I featured over a dozen games, and it keeps growing and getting bigger and getting better. My lighting's better. My editing skills are better. My speaking clearly is not better, but the rest of the stuff is better. And I hope that you have enjoyed the growth of this channel. And thank you, every one of you who has had a part in allowing this channel to grow and become better and better for all of you. Now my speaking just got a little bit better right there. So hey, we're getting so many exciting places. But look at this thumbnail from the first video. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Sometimes I watch that video and just cringe, but it's so cool just to look where we've come, where we're going. Got a lot of big things planned coming forward, but let's get to this top 10 today. Now look, my top 10 spirits for Spirit Island video. I got some feedback that my caveat section was a little bit long. So I'm gonna try to keep that shorter. But if you looked at some of the comments, I mean, I thought one dude, I hope he didn't jump off a bridge because I rated Starlight at 20 because his comments, these are only my opinions, people, all right? I'm just going to summarize it mostly as that. And there's also a lot of games that I hope to have at this point that I haven't gotten yet. Chip Theory games coming soon. All right, but we're going to get some more games in to continue to get more and more content on this channel, to continue to grow me as a solo player, to continue to introduce more and more games to people that use my channel for those sorts of things. And I'm really, really excited about that. So this is a snapshot in time. This is my top 10 solo games today, April 2021, coming at you now with number 10. Number 10, Seventh Continent. Now, Seventh Continent was number 4, I believe, in my top 10 last year. And I think that's a sign of, we'll get the quick negative out of the way, replayability. Not exactly there, right? Once you lift a curse, I'm not a beat your own score kind of guy. Doesn't really do for much for me the second or third playthrough. However, some of the gaming moments I had when I was exploring this game, it's really, really hard to replicate that in many other games, right? The survival nature, the learning how to get food, learning how to use the item crafting abilities to your advantage, learning how to you memorize the map as you go. I mean, it's that game, it's just like and thematically how that makes sense, because this is an island that you've been to before, and now you're going back and you have knowledge and you had prior experiences, and all that comes to bear as you're now trying to lift this curse and just survive. But you might get mauled by a bear when you're fishing, or you might run into some crazy centipede, whatever nonsense. It's so cool. The Forbidden Sanctuary expansion, that was one of the top gaming experiences I've ever had. Just going through that curse, I loved that curse. I just found I was so immersed, and when I lifted it, it was a euphoric moment, and that moment alone is probably what kept this in my top 10 as I really thought about this list. It's still in my collection. I might get some more of the expansion content. I know they just made it easier to get the Air expansion stuff, and I'm forgetting the name of it. Seventh Citadel is coming out. It's on Kickstarter, so that's going to be fulfilled, I think, next year. So we'll see what the future is for me with Serious Pulp and this system. But Seventh Continent, it's the hours of play that you get in exploring that island and seeing that experience. If you like survival games, it's hard to get better than Seventh Continent. Little vicious. the permadeath mechanic is a little brutal. I hear some of that was kind of addressed. They did a more of a chapter system in Seventh Citadel. But again, for the money, for the hours of play, for the experiences, for the puzzle, for the first time that you're really working through the curse and trying to make sense of these little enigmatic clues that you get, right? It's so cool. Love the game, love the experience, appreciate where it fit in my collection. Nothing else does quite what Seventh Continent does, and that's it. So we're gonna put Seventh Continent number 10. Number 9, This War of Mine. Yeah, it's this is like the one game where I always feel weird saying that I have fun playing it, right? Because there's a satisfaction that comes with playing it that's very deep and rich. Fun is subjective, I guess, right? It's heavy. I think the last playthrough I did where it opened up and the first scene was a highly dramatic scene, and you're just like, oh, welcome back, right? I really like the scenarios. I like how they shorten the game. I like how they put the focus more on the scavenging and the trading and the day-to-day survival without having to deal with all the fittings, right? So it kind of simulates more of a late game of TWAM when things are going well. But it's a cool game. It's a really, it's kind of an eye-opening experience. I mean, it's still a game, but I think it does put certain ideas of war. It puts like more of a humanity focus on real life war simulations, or real life war, not necessarily simulations, right? This is a war simulation game. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great game. There's again, like I said about Seventh Continent, there's nothing like it, right? You're facing the human face now. For me, when I think about a war-torn society, it's not just those people that go by this monolithic group name of whatever. It's more like, that's Marco and Katya and Marin, and it's unique to see how it comes together with this package. The sheer number of scripts is incredible. It's been a very rare experience for me to wind up with a card and then roll the die to get the color and then match that with the chart, and it's like, I've read this before, right? The number of unique, like one of my biggest complaints with the game is the unique tokens. Like I think I've written at least twice on the front and the back of every unique token they gave, which is just more of a testament to just how many unique little wrinkles and storylines that they bothered putting into the design in this game, with just the sheer overwhelming quantity of scripts that it's there. So I'm always caution. I always use caution when I recommend this game, but it's really solid in what it does, it does really well. I never felt the need to get the expansions with it. I think this is kind of the end of where my TWAM road ends. I do want to explore more of the advanced board. I'll get another playthrough on the channel soon. But again, if you're looking for something a little different, if you really want to be engrossed in the narrative, but it's also forcing you to think strategically in how you use resources and how you're willing to trade resources to get what you need, and kind of think like long-term planning as well as balancing the immediate needs of illness or wounds or whatever. This game really brings a lot to the table from a strategic standpoint as well as a narrative standpoint, and I can't recommend it enough from that standpoint. So number 9, This War of Mine. Number 8, moving on, we got Scythe. Scythe, I don't know. Somebody will officially let me know how to say that at some point. But great game. Again, it's where I started with solo gaming. Bit of nostalgia for me. Probably always hanging around my top 10 because of that reason alone. It just my first introduction to Atoma, like for many people it was, and still love the puzzly nature. I am totally a one faction versus one Atoma guy. You guys all go nuts with your multiple Atoma decks and whatever. For me, I always like more simplicity in my solo games. I mean, simplicity as far as setup and maintenance, and I want to be deeply engaged. I love a huge challenge, but again, for me, the one Atoma, one player matchup's really nice, and the need to be just insanely efficient with your turns, and when you're playing against the Atoma on hard is a challenge I really like. It's the whole thing, the Vaders from Afar I love. Wind Gambit, as I said in the one playthrough when I used it, I could take or leave the Wind Gambit. Really don't like Fenris. Fenris I still think was a wee bit broken, at least in my humble opinion. But the game itself, the base game, you know, what Stonemaier Games did with Scythe, and the design of Scythe, and you know, really getting into, again, those asymmetric factions, and thinking about your engine building, and it's like, hey, do you want to do combat? Do you want to not? How do you avoid combat but still get the points you need and get the hexes you need to get the area control that you need? I mean, it's all that is so rich and rewarding. When you have a game against a Atoma where it just comes down to that last turn, and you stretching out that one worker into that farm in the top right just to get that extra hex, to get those 2 or 3 more victory points to pull out a win. Very, very cool. I like a lot of the way it comes together, and I recommend the Sidekick app for anyone that doesn't use that app. That app is fantastic. Really streamlines the scoring. I don't use it for the Atoma movement. I know for some people that's everything. For me, I just learned the Atoma movement so well, I don't feel the need to use the app. But if you do, great. If I was using 2 Atomas, I probably would use the app. But again, I like being able to look at the card, know what I need to do, and then move on without having to keep looking back at the app every turn. But again, great game. Again, so much has been said about Scythe. There's nothing else I could really say in this video that's going to really be novel or groundbreaking in that in that regard. This is a well-reviewed game, right? So it's Scythe. It's great. Speaks for itself. Number 8 on my list. Number 7, Aeon's End. This game, I like it. So Mrs. Playthrough's favorite game is Dominion, as she said in a little Q&A I had with her on the channel. So I was really looking for a co-op game that I could get Mrs. Playthroughs to play with me, because Mrs. Playthroughs prefers to wallop me in games like Viticulture and Castles of Burgundy and all the other games that she wallops me in. So getting her to cooperate with me beyond what she does for the channel, to get her to cooperate with me in a gaming session, it's taken a bit of time to find a game that worked for her, and Aeon's End works for her, and that way it works for me even more. But it worked for me first. I really took to the dynamic nature of the different mages. I really like the different challenges presented by the different nemesis. I kind of like the lore. I like the artwork. I know I get some hate for that. I don't know. That thing's cool and scary. A little bit out of the 80s, but I'm fine with that. Whatever. I'm a kid of the 80s. Totally cool. Great game. Love the sheer amount of content, even in the first and second wave. That's what I have. Probably where I'm going to stop for a long time. I know some people are so excited about this 6th wave Kickstarter. That's awesome. You guys all knock yourself out. For me, this kind of, it scratches that itch. It's a tremendous game. Sometimes for me, less is more when it comes to games. And I just love the amount of content that I already have. Now, maybe when I defeat the 20-something nemesis I already have in the first 2 waves, I will consider moving beyond that. And then there's like Legacies, the wave 3 or whatever. But again, very cool game. I like that I can play a true solo. That's a big selling point for me. I've had that conversation numerous times in the comments, and I know there are synergies that can happen. I don't feel like I'm missing out on them when I play true solo. I like being able to stretch to the limit each of the individual mages in a true solo. Nemesis versus Mage Battle Royale. That's what I find fun. The game is super quick. Doesn't go well, just set it up again, change the market, don't change the market, do whatever you want to do. But the nemesis and how they behave, they're all so different. I really enjoyed the Carapace Queen and the Prince of Gluttons and the Crooked Mask, and it's like, whoa, all so much cooler. I mean, it's as I've gone, when I moved beyond Rageborn is when I really started to take to this game, and I just was addicted to it for weeks. What do I want to play? Just play Aeon's End, right? And I'll play one game, and one game became 4 games, and 4 games became 10, and I'm like, all right, I gotta I gotta sleep at some point, or film a video, or edit a video, or anything else that I was doing, right? Or I don't know, be a husband, and and a dad. But a lot of things going on. But yeah, this game is great. I really like it. Thrilled to have it in my collection. It is probably the most newly acquired game on this list by a few months at least, but it's a good one. Aeon's End, number 7. Number 6, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. And yes, I do mean Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Not the big bad big brother, which I like. I like Jaws of the Lion so much more. And not that Gloomhaven's a bad game. Gloomhaven was 8 on my top 10 games, right? Jaws of the Lion is 6 on my top 10 solo games. I'm not convinced that I'm pointing over at a Gloomhaven box that I have over there, which isn't mine, it's my friend's. It's just lived here since COVID started, and now we play Zoom gaming. But, okay, I'm totally going down a complete tangent. So, back to the scheduled program. Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. Why do I like it better? Why do I like it better, especially for solo? Oh, that streamlined setup is nice. You just get it out. You can play 1, 2, 3 scenarios, put it away. Great. And it's so much easier to do that with this game. I was very surprised at how challenging this game is. Where, you know, if you go on forums, it's almost like you kind of expect you might need to drop down a level or two, at least for some of the scenarios as you go through the campaign. And that's fine. It's a crazy good challenge. There's very few mechanics missing from original Gloomhaven. I mean, for an intro game at Walmart, this just not expecting how much was thrown into this game as far as mechanics, as far as the need for strategy. The narrative I like. Why do I like it? Is it amazing? No, it's a narrative, but it's discernible in a way that I didn't think it really was in Big Gloomhaven. I have finished Gloomhaven in its entirety. We did manage to knock that off going through the Forbidden Circles campaign now, and that's fine. But I like the narrative. I like the tight little package. I love the characters. The Hatchet is super cool. The Demolitionist is my man. Woman, I don't know what gender. They are great. All of it's great. I love what was done here. The fact that Childress is like, I'm going to put out a little small thing, and I got these 4 characters lying around, and I'm just going to like throw that together and put 25 scenarios in a box and throw it off at Walmart. I mean, I just did not expect this much quality in this game for what it is. I am super excited for Frosthaven and when that comes out and where that's going to go. If this is a sign of things to come as the Gloomhaven franchise continues to march onward, I'm really, really excited for Frosthaven to come out pretty soon. But I'm going to bird in the hand, right? This game's great. I love it. Number 6 for sure on this list. Almost had it higher. Probably would have had it higher if you could have played it True Solo. True Solo just speaks to me a little bit more. But again, it's fine. I'll play this two-handed. We'll get through it. I'll play through that campaign in here 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I'm sure before too long because I've already done it 3, and I really like it. Right now, playing a co-op game with a friend of mine. But once that's done, I'm sure I'll fire it up again, pick my favorite 2 characters or 2 characters I haven't used in combination with each other, and just take it on one more time. But great game. Number 6, Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Number 5, Gaia Project. Now, there is no other game on this list that makes me wonder if I'm just truly awful at board games more than Gaia Project. This game has been a learning curve for me that will never end, and I just love it. I love the puzzle that it presents. I love the asymmetric nature of the factions and how they make me look at the board differently. I wish it had more narrative. I don't know why. Just give me a 2-paragraph description of each faction just so I have something to hang my hat on, right? I wish it felt a little bit less like beat your own scorey, because it's just the Atoma gets a random score every game, but it's going to be somewhere between like 130 and 160 on hard. So it's like, get to 160, you're probably going to win, right? But all that said, I mean, there is some interaction between you and the Atoma, so that's not a total true statement. I'm not discounting that, but again, sometimes it feels a little beat your own scorey. But just the efficiency puzzle that this game presents. The knowing when to spend points to gain power so you can do this, to build the engine to cash in, knowing when to hold back on doing this certain thing because it's worth more points the next round, knowing what of those tech tiles to get, and just like, all right, you're usually going up the economic track, but does it make sense to do the Gaia forming track, or maybe once in a while try something crazy, do the knowledge track? I mean, it's just so cool how it all comes together. I have so much more I want to explore with this game. This will be a game more heavily featured in the months to come, as I am kind of constantly evolving the content and the frequency of things that I'm putting on the channel here. But this is, it needs more. I need to play it more, so you're gonna need to see it more on my channel if you want to, or just watch some other videos too. That's fine. So Gaia Project number 5, love where it is. Great game. I just love what the Atoma Factory did with those cards. All 7 of those Atoma factions really feel like a whole separate thing, and they're just doing certain things that now it's like that, it just changes that puzzle every time you play, depending on who you're playing with, who you're playing against, how the planet's set out, where the tech tiles are, ever changing, and that drive to continue to, I love trying to master games in the way that this game totally prevents me from ever feeling like I even come close to mastering it. Just keeps bringing me back in a really cool and engaging way. And that's, again, number 5. No brainer for me, Gaia Project. Number 4, Arkham Horror. Yeah. Why was Gaia Project a no-brainer at number 5 is interesting, right? Because it's a no-brainer at number 5 because the 4 games ahead of it for me were just so clearly my favorite games that I didn't have to really think about it. And then I was like, all right, what came next? So then Gaia was like, oh, it has to be Gaia, right? So it is what it is. My top 5 are just really set right now. But where my top 4 fit, knowing I like them all more than Gaia, it was really, it was hard for me to realize that Arkham had fallen for me a bit. And I mean, Arkham was number 1 on my top 10 games. I love this game a ton still, and I've really enjoyed my live playthroughs of it. It's in the gaming moments that it still provides me. I think for me, one of the things I struggle with games is, you know, there are certain games that I like, and then I play more of the content, and I'm like, and it just doesn't work for me in a way that makes me think less of the whole. That happened to me with Robinson Crusoe, big time. Like those later scenarios in the base box, I'm like, what is this? This is not a very well put together scenario, and it kind of made me really brought Crusoe down for me a whole lot. This, I don't like some of the design decisions that are being made. Circle Undone and Dream Eaters really stopped balancing for true solo play as much, and that's how I most love to experience this game. All 3 card boxes of this game, and this is the Return to Night of the Zealot box. I have the other 3 Return Tos that have been released. I'm gonna get the Return to the Circle Undone. I hope they come back to balancing for true solo play, and it's not like egregious, it's just different. And there are certain things with scenarios that I'm seeing certain patterns that I don't love. I'm seeing certain things with encounter sets that I don't love, and for me, this game never got better after Forgotten Age. It was Dunwich I love, Carcosa I love, Forgotten Age is my favorite campaign, which I know puts me in the weirdo category, which I'm totally fine with. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last, I promise you that. The campaigns since then have been like, and I don't love the money, the money sink that this game is. And I'm probably gonna call my collection of quits after the Innsmouth Conspiracy cycle finishes, other than I love the new side scenarios. Oh my gosh, they're so good. The side scenarios just keep getting better in my mind. Outer Gods is amazing. Blob is great. Excelsior Hotel. I mean, it's almost like I like the side scenarios more and more, and I like the actual cycles worse and worse as things have progressed with this game. I've got all the novellas. They're quick reads. They're just fun. I like the lore. I really enjoyed kind of being immersed in this world. So yeah, it's quite a slide, I guess, to go from my number 1 game overall for a game that I most enjoyed solo to now my number 4. But you know, it's okay. I'm sure MJ Newman will still sleep pretty well at night, and I'm sure Fantasy Flight's not gonna be that upset. Number 4 is still pretty darn high, guys and girls and other. So you know, we're not going to be belaboring this point too much, right? But it is funny with these lists when I go from a game that I was so effusive about only a year ago to now it's like, huh, why is it 4 instead of 1, right? So I feel this pressure to explain when really I could be just as effusive, right? It just the game has come down a few notches for me. But everything I said a year ago is still true. The immersive nature of it, the challenge of playing a true solo, one investigator, learning how to utilize their strengths and cover up their weaknesses, and how every investigator makes you see each scenario in a different light with a different angle, and learning how to defeat each cycle with each investigator. And it's not always possible, but to the extent it is, I love that puzzle. I love that challenge. Seeing an investigator card that you've looked at, I don't know, dozens of times over the years, and now it's like, oh, that's so much stronger than I thought. It's like, that's what that card can do. That's really cool. It's like learning new synergies and how that just tickles the brain as you play these games. I really, really, really love that. I have taken to doing more of a draft. I found a website where you can draft cards instead of actually building a deck, which can be a very meticulous and painstaking and arduous process when you have this many cards. So I've liked doing just a draft now, do it online. It's so much quicker. That forces me to use more of my collection too, so I don't hate that. And there's so many new cards out that are super exciting. So it's like when you do a draft, you're still going to get a pretty solid deck out. And then when you get XP, you can, if you don't like a card or two, you'll always find a way to kind of sub them out pretty quick in a campaign. But that's been a nice new wrinkle and helped me continue to love this game as much as I have. But yeah, it's fun. And I think, when I get to the next 3 games, will understand that it's maybe perhaps my love for the game hasn't fallen as much as my love for the other games has just exploded, right? And that's totally fine. It's just so cool to be a solo gamer in modern tabletop games, right? The number of options we have to play is unbelievable, and the number of things we can do and places we can go through our dining room tables on the average night is super cool. So that's it. A worthy and worthy number 4 for my top 10 solo games. Arkham Horror, the card game. Number 3, Dawn of the Zeds, 3rd edition. Yeah. I love this game. I just love it. This is by far the highest game on my top solo list that was not on my top game list. I was told to get it by a subscriber on my channel, ex-Huntinator, still out there. Man, I am so grateful. And then I saw it on, I think it was 3-Minute Board Games top solo game video, and just was super intrigued and took the plunge, and woo, this game is so good. There is not another game that generates as many different stories and as much narrative in from playthrough to playthrough as this game. It's unbelievable how much content is in this game. The events, the unbelievably asymmetric characters and their different abilities that all feel overpowered, and then you realize, oh, they're not. I mean, the game is just crazy how it all comes together. The resource management is great. The tower defense in this game is super, super cool. It's hard, but you always feel like you have a chance. It's so cool. Honestly, when someone's raving about Crusoe, I'm just get Zeds. And I know they're very different games in some sense, but it's that resource management, survival feel, deep story, cool setting, that it's so much, this game's so much richer, right? Crusoe to me, once you know what you're doing, it just feels on rails. You just do this, hope you get lucky enough to win. This game, there's just so many viable strategies. Do you want to build barricades and try to win that way? Do you want to do the research once you get to level 3 and beyond and try to win that way? Do you want to just try to hold down a town center and just get it, just forge a ton and get a bunch of ammo and just shoot things as they get close? Do you want to try to, you know, cut off a couple of the routes and just try to hold tight there, and then you have your VFW local to do the job somewhere else, because they never retreat, right? The role to resolve part of this game just doesn't bother me like it does in some games, because you roll so much. And what's cool about that is it works thematically too, because sometimes things are just going really well for you for a while, and then sometimes things are going really not well for you for a while, and it all feeds this story, this B zombie campy movie story that is told so well, that is captured so well in the characters, captured so well in the events, captured so well in the fate cards. I cannot stop gushing about this game, and I have only gotten through level 3. I'm taking my time, I'm enjoying it, it's so good. Every level's made me love it more. I'm really excited to go forward with level 4, level 5, maybe do some short games. We'll do the director's cuts, maybe, we'll see. There's so much replayability in this box. I love how it's packaged. I really like the expansions. Go get yourself some Betty. Go get yourself some May. You're gonna need both those women. I'll tell you what, they're amazing. And get yourself that horse too. Generally, yeah, buddy. This buzz for you, I guess. This game is really cool. And again, I am just really thrilled to have had it suggested to me through this channel, so I was able to discover it. Again, took the plunge and just haven't looked back. Man, it's sitting at number 3. I mean, it's got 2 powerhouses in front of it. Otherwise, it could definitely make an argument to be higher on anybody's list. So it's a great game. Really excited to again bring it to the next couple of levels, and love featuring it on the channel. Dawn of the Zeds 3rd edition. Number 2, Mage Knight. I mean, Mage Knight's gonna get a complex because it's always the bridesmaid but never the bride for me, right? In my top games video, it was 1B. To Arkham Horror's 1A. In this video, it is 1B to, you know it already. You'll figure it. If you don't know it, you'll know in a few minutes. But you probably know it. It is 1B to another 1A. Mage Knight, I'll tell you what. I did not know. Look, plus for me, you know, this channel has influenced how I experience these games too, right? That's undeniable. And seeing, it was really Mage Knight that really, you know, grew this channel through a very significant part of the growth, and how I kept getting found by new subscribers. And it still plays that role. I mean, I put a Mage Knight video up, I know the views I'm going to get and how much people love this game. The puzzle that comes out every time you play Mage Knight is so rich and cool. The more I've really thought through the mechanics and why certain things are what they are, and why certain spells do what they do, I really have grown to enjoy it. And then you have, like, yeah, the theme's not great. There's not a lot of narrative. You have this amorphous idea. Are you good? Are you evil? Who knows? I think that's just part of the allure. But, you know, in my mind, I like to think that I'm a hero, and those silly monks just need to give me those artifacts. I wouldn't burn their monasteries down, right? That's it. It's a simple idea, because they should know that I'm trying to save the world from those evil city garrisons, or from that crooked general who is trying to subject Atlantia to Atlantis, the Atlantean countryside, to his garbage. I mean, this is clearly what's happening, right? I don't know, but I love it. I love it. I mean, it's hard to imagine that you're good though when you're playing as Krang, when you're like, I'm an orc. I mean, I'm an orc shaman. I guess that's better. Or like Goldix, I'm a dragon. Dragons are the bad guys in most of these worlds, right? But it's cool. It's wacky. I really enjoyed going through Tesla in this last year. That was definitely part of my Mage Knight life that I had not explored at all. I don't love all of it. I love parts of it, and that really has, I think it's enriched my experience of solo conquest. The blitz scenarios that add a really nice challenge, really nice wrinkle. I love those. Obviously, the Lost Legion expansion, essential. Just, it is what it is. If you own Mage Knight, I mean, look, I love Krang, fine, but Get Lost Legion at least too. But obviously, most people now have the Ultimate Edition. That's awesome. I'm gonna hold on to this guy. It's served me well, and I love this game. I love what it's, really. This was the first game. The first game I played was Scythe, right? That was my first solo experience and with the Atoma. But this was the first game for me that the idea of sitting down for 3-4 hours and poring over rules and trying to figure out how to maximize a hand with this ever evolving, super engaging puzzle. I know some people have, feel Mage Knight's like too min-maxy. I don't feel that way for me, but I mean, I played fairly quick. I mean, people have commented on my videos a lot, it's funny that fairly quick is still like 2 hours for a lot of these videos, but 2 hours plus. But there is a flow to it as you learn the game, and you have these really rich ideas and possibilities. Am I gonna go to that ruins? Am I gonna try to siege that monastery to get that that certain spell, or is a better idea just to go to the village and recruit, and like how you think about making every turn count, because that timer is a ticking in all those scenarios. You cannot just mess around. You have to find something to do with the cards in your hand, and be efficient with how you use those cards. That puzzle, that efficiency puzzle, is ever changing, ever evolving from round to round, depending on the source, depending on the countryside tiles, depending on so many things. And it's that ever evolving nature that no game feels the same, even now. And I love that. I love the euphoric wins that it can bring. I love the crushing defeats that it can bring as well. And I've loved being able to share my love for this game through this channel so much that it's, it is what it is. Mage Knight, number 2, 1B2. Sorry, Mage Knight. And number 1, Spirit Island. And I mean, it doesn't hurt that our Eric Royce was cool enough to come on my channel. I mean, it doesn't hurt. And be super gracious when my doofusness had a setting wrong, which kind of caused a 6-minute delay. But this game, man, Jagged Earth, so maybe it's a little unfair, right, to Mage Knight. Maybe Mage Knight is even a more angry bridesmaid. This game with Branch and Claw and with now Jagged Earth, it's hard to imagine 2 better expansions for any game ever made. And that's obviously a ton of bias in that statement, but it is how I genuinely feel. Jagged Earth is the best expansion that you'll ever buy. And Branch and Claw, I mean, the game was designed with Branch and Claw in it, right? You might want to get it because the game really comes to life with those tokens, with those beast tokens and the wilds tokens and the disease tokens and the strife and the events. And I know some people hate the events. I get it. I don't. They add that little bit of narrative that I want. And understanding the lore of the game and understanding the timeline and what's actually happening, and getting into those rich like anti-colonialism themes, and just everything about what this game does, and how it presents, and the fact that you can play a true solo game. Again, I'm a true solo guy. I know people, you want to play two spirits, amazing, knock yourself out. That's awesome for you. I love this game, true solo. I love that challenge. I love seeing each spirit, just again 1v1. Let's see what can they do. How strong can they be? And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. And again, that's all part of the fun for me and how I engage with this game. But I mean, 24 spirits. I mean, even without the promo packs, 20 spirits. I mean, can you find more asymmetricness? That's a word now. I'm making it a word if it's not. Asymmetricness in a game that is more rich, more compelling. It's like, how does this dude do it? I'm like, you looked at so many times with the Jagged Earth spirits. I'm like, huh? He broke the game, but it works. It's like Finder. That's insane. Many Minds is insane. Vengeance is insane. But they all work. Some I think work better than others, but I love them all. I love the challenge of them all. I love how they add to the game. All of them in some form or fashion, and all of them are viable against at least one of the very strong adversaries on 5, 6, whatever. I mean, it's going to be harder with some than others for sure. But I'll take Finder. Finder was 24 in my true solo list. I'll take Finder against level 6, Scotland. I'll take Finder against level 6 Prussia. Probably won't win all that often, but it's cool when it does. And seeing those challenges, seeing that unbelievable ability to move around, the invaders and manipulate the land like that Finder has is so cool. And then you're like, all right, cool, let's do something crazy. Give me wildfire, blight the land, give me some fire, do some damage, right? As my presence goes, as I'm just scorching the earth and doing the things that a fire would do, and doing it in a way that's defending the island from the invaders, and protecting the Dahan from any further invader action, right? It's cool. It's really cool. I've gotten lost in this game more than any other game that I've talked about in this list. I'm super excited to continue to explore it. The sheer amount of content. I want to start going through the level 5s, the level 6s, the scenarios, the aspect cards. There's just so much to explore with this game. And my favorite thing about this game that I don't know if I've ever felt as strongly with any other game, that with this game, it's almost like the expansions, they didn't add content as much as they revealed more of the world that already existed. And I love that. I just love that from the beginning, Royce, in the narrative that's told on each of the spirit boards, was telling you a story about a world, and you're now just getting a chance to get peek behind the curtain a little bit more every game, and to see more of what that world's all about and how it works, and the struggle for the Dahan to survive in the face of a foreigner coming in and not respecting their land or their culture. The struggle of the land to withstand the pillaging of resources that the adversaries are doing to it, and just trying to, as a spirit, do what you can, even though you're not operating on the same timeline, but you're operating in that world and trying to engage in that world in a way that's beneficial for the island, and kind of trying to save that status quo from this encroaching enemy. It's great. I'm so enamored with this game and how it's designed. I can't even imagine what, I guess I was going to say I can only imagine. I can't. I can't even imagine what Royce has coming up with this game. I know we're looking at the Han themed expansion that he's researching at this moment, and in this general period of time, he's a little busy with other things too. I get that, but he's super excited for when that comes out, and I'll be there just to kind of, because I want to know more, right? I want to know what stories are left to be told in this island, and that's it. So that is number 1, or for Mage Knight's sake, fine, we'll say it's 1A, and make Mage Knight feel a little bit better about itself. So that is that. Those are my top 10 solo games. What are your favorite solo games that I didn't mention? I don't know. Maybe you want to put that in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Again, that's how I discovered at least one of these games. Would love to discover more. I got some big things planned though this year. This list will probably be different in 12 months. Why? We got more games coming out that are going to be added into the solo playthroughs library that I cannot wait until they get into my house. So I'm not made out for this Kickstarter thing, I'll tell you what, because I'm that guy that every day I'm going to these videos and watching the same video that I've seen 100 times, and I'm looking at the same updates, knowing, oh, it's the same thing, and wait another couple of weeks, fine, whatever. I'll wait a couple more weeks and we'll get more content on this channel, new games to explore and learn together in solo playthroughs land. So appreciate the support. Cannot believe genuinely where this channel has gone in just a year. And I'm so appreciative that I get to do this and share this with you all, and people care about what I'm doing. And I've just learned so much from these comments, so much about these games. It really has really enriched my own personal enjoyment of my gaming collection. So I hope that I've been able to do the same for you. If you're watching this video, that I have enriched your enjoyment of your gaming collection, because Lord knows we could all use a little bit more, a little bit less craziness, a little bit more order in our lives, and I hope these games kind of bring some of that to you. So that is it. Signing out. This is it. 2021 top 10 true solo games, solo playthroughs. You can tell me what I got wrong in the comments below, but remember my caveats above, right? That's all I'm saying. Thanks. I appreciate it. It is what it is. That's it. I'm glad people are so passionate about their games, but you know, I'm just a dude with one opinion, and it's not worth that much. I just hope this was fun for you. All right, happy gaming.